I wasn't supposed to be there. That's the first thing you need to understand. The mating ceremony wasn't for women like me. Unmated, unremarkable, 26 and fading into the background of pack life like wallpaper no one bothered to replace. But my sister begged me to come, said she needed moral support, and I was stupid enough to believe that's all it was. The ceremony was being held in the grand hall, and when I walked in, the air hit me like a wall, thick with pheromones, anticipation, and something else I couldn't name. Hundreds of wolves packed the space, the unmated females dressed in whites and silvers, practically glowing under the chandelier light. I wore grey. I always wore grey. If you're already hooked, do me a favor. Hit that like button and subscribe. You're going to want to see where this goes. My sister, Kara, disappeared within 30 seconds. Just melted into the crowd like she'd never dragged me here in the first place. I stood there, scanning for her blonde head, but it was useless. Everyone was taller than me, more beautiful, more everything. That's when I felt it. Eyes on me. Not the casual glance of someone passing by. This was different. This was the weight of a predator deciding whether you were prey. I turned slowly, and that's when I saw him. He stood on the upper gallery, alone, arms crossed over a chest so broad it made the other alphas look like boys playing dress-up. He had to be 6'8", maybe more, with shoulders that could carry the world and a face carved from stone and shadow. Dark hair, darker eyes, and a scar that cut through his left eyebrow and disappeared into his hairline. He was staring directly at me. My heart stopped. Then it started again, twice as fast. I looked away. Forced myself to breathe. When I looked back, he was gone. Ridiculous, I whispered to myself. He wasn't looking at you. But my wolf stirred for the first time in months, whimpering softly in the back of my mind. The ceremony began with the traditional speeches, endless droning about bloodlines and destiny and the sacred bonds that would be formed tonight. I zoned out, searching the crowd for Kara, plotting my escape. I'd give it another 20 minutes, then. You're alone. The voice came from directly behind me, so deep it vibrated in my chest. I spun around and nearly fell over. It was him. The giant from the gallery. Up close, he was even more terrifying, and more beautiful in a brutal, unpolished way. He smelled like winter forests and lightning storms, and something in my DNA screamed at me to either run or submit. I did neither. I'm waiting for someone, I lied. His eyes narrowed slightly, like he could taste the dishonesty. No, you're not. My mouth went dry. Excuse me. He stepped closer, too close, and lowered his voice to a rumble that only I could hear. In approximately 45 seconds, 3 alphas are going to approach you. They're from the Northern Ridge Pack. They've been watching you since you walked in, and they don't have good intentions. I blinked. What are you? Don't look, he commanded, but I was already turning my head. 3 men stood about 20 feet away, blocking the exit I'd been eyeing. They were watching me with expressions that made my skin crawl. The one in the middle smiled, and it didn't reach his eyes. Terror spiked through me. I need to leave. You can't. Not alone. They'll follow. His jaw tightened. So here's what's going to happen. You're going to act like you're mine. My brain short-circuited. I'm going to what? Put your hand on my chest. Lean in. Laugh like I said something charming. His expression didn't change, but his voice dropped to something almost gentle. Trust me. It's the only way they'll back off. I don't even know you. Ryker Thorn, Alpha of the Shadow Mountain Pack. Now you know me. Make your choice. The three men started walking toward us. I didn't think. I pressed my palm against his chest, solid muscle and heat beneath the fabric, and forced a smile that felt like shattered glass. This is insane, I whispered. Tilt your head, he murmured, his hand settling on my lower back, burning through the thin fabric of my dress. Look at me like I'm the only person in this room. I looked up, and the world narrowed to just his face. His eyes were gray, I realized. Storm cloud gray, with flecks of silver that caught the light. Better, he said softly. Then louder for anyone listening. I was beginning to think you weren't coming. I should have felt ridiculous. I should have pulled away. Instead, my wolf purred. She's claimed Marcus. Ryker's voice cut across the space, addressing the middleman without even looking at him. Move along. Funny, Marcus said, still approaching. I don't see a mark. You want to challenge me for her? Ryker's tone was casual, but the threat underneath was nuclear. Because I promise you, that will be the last mistake you make. The temperature in the room seemed to drop 10 degrees. Marcus stopped walking. His smile faded. After a long, tense moment, he nodded slowly. Another time, perhaps. There won't be another time. Ryker's hand tightened on my waist, possessive and protective all at once. Walk away. They did. I realized I'd been holding my breath and let it out in a shaky exhale. Thank you, I managed. I don't know what. Don't thank me yet, Ryker interrupted, his eyes still scanning the crowd. We're not done. What do you mean? They're going to be watching us for the rest of the night. If we separate now, they'll know it was a bluff. If they know it was a bluff. He didn't finish the sentence. He didn't have to. My stomach dropped. So what do? We stay together. You stay close to me. And when the bonding dance starts, he paused, something almost apologetic flickering across his face. You're going to have to dance with me. I can't dance. Then I'll lead. His hand was still on my waist, steady and sure. What's your name? Nora, I whispered. Nora Ashwood. Something changed in his expression, just for a second, so fast I almost missed it. Surprise. Recognition. It was gone before I could identify it. Well, Nora Ashwood, he said quietly, for the next few hours you're mine. Try not to look terrified. I'm not terrified. Your heart is racing so fast I can hear it from here. That's not terror, I shot back, surprising myself. That's adrenaline. The corner of his mouth twitched. Is that what we're calling it? Before I could respond, the music shifted. The bonding dance was beginning. Ryker held out his hand. Ready. I wasn't. Not even close. But I took his hand anyway, and let him lead me onto the floor. The moment we began to move, everything else fell away. He was right. He did lead, and I just followed, my body responding to his like we'd done this 1,000 times before. His hand was firm on my waist, the other clasping mine, and we moved together through the crowd like smoke. You're shaking, he murmured. You're huge, I replied without thinking. It's intimidating. That almost smile again. Most people don't tell me that to my face. Most people probably have more self-preservation than me. I'm starting to realize that. The dance continued, and I became aware of the stares. Everyone was watching us, the giant, terrifying alpha of Shadow Mountain, dancing with a nobody in a grey dress. I could hear the whispers, feel the weight of their judgment and curiosity. "Ignore them," Ryker said, as if reading my mind. "Eyes on me." So I looked at him and kept looking, and somewhere in the middle of the third song, I realized something that terrified me more than Marcus and his friends ever could. This didn't feel like pretending anymore. "Ryker," I started, but he shook his head. "Not here. Too many ears." The song ended. Another began. We kept dancing. And that's when I saw my sister. Kara stood at the edge of the dance floor, her face pale, her eyes locked on me, and Ryker with an expression I couldn't read. Fear. Anger. When our eyes met, she turned and disappeared into the crowd. "I need to find my sister," I said urgently. "Not alone. She's my sister. I'm not going to." "Nora." His voice was steel. "Those men are still watching. You leave my side, you become vulnerable. Is that what you want?" "No, but..." "Then she can wait." He spun me gently, his hand never leaving my waist. 5 more minutes. Then we'll find her together." I wanted to argue, but the look in his eyes told me this wasn't negotiable. So I danced, and I waited, and I tried to ignore the feeling that something was very, very wrong. When the song finally ended, Ryker guided me off the floor, his body angled to shield me from view. We moved through the crowd, and I scanned desperately for Kara's blonde hair. "There," I said, spotting her near the terrace doors. We approached, and Kara turned. Up close, I could see she'd been crying. "Kara, what's wrong? Why did you?" "You need to come with me," she said, her voice tight. "Now." "Alone." Ryker's hand tightened on my waist. "That's not happening." Kara's eyes flicked to him, and I saw genuine fear there. "Please. This doesn't concern you, Alpha Thorn." "Everything concerning Nora concerns me tonight," he replied evenly. "Whatever you need to say, you can say in front of me." "No, I can't." Kara looked at me, desperate. "Nora, please. Trust me. Just for 5 minutes." I looked between them, torn. "Ryker, maybe." "No." His voice left no room for argument. "I don't know what's happening here, but my instincts are screaming at me that something isn't right." And that's when Kara started laughing. It wasn't a happy sound. It was bitter and broken, and it made my blood run cold. "Of course," she said, wiping her eyes. "Of course you'd show up. Of course you'd choose her." She looked at me, and the hatred in her eyes knocked the breath from my lungs. "Do you even know who he is, Nora? Do you have any idea what you've done?" "Kara, what are you?" "He's your mate," she spat. "Ryker Thorn is your fated mate. And you just took him from me." The world tilted. I looked up at Ryker, waiting for him to deny it. To laugh. To say something, anything that would make this make sense. But he was staring at Kara with an expression of cold fury. "How?" he said quietly. "Do you know that?" Kara smiled, and it was the cruelest thing I'd ever seen. "Because I've been planning this for 6 months. Because I found the prophecy. Because I knew he'd be here tonight, and I knew exactly what I needed to do to make sure he chose me instead." My legs felt weak. What are you talking about? She's been drugging you, Ryker said flatly, his eyes never leaving Kara. Suppressing your scent. Making sure I wouldn't recognize you. I'm her sister, Kara hissed. I deserved him more than she ever could. I'm stronger, prettier, better in every way. But fate didn't care about that, did it? Fate gave him to the pathetic little wallflower who can't even. Ryker moved so fast I didn't see it. 1 second he was beside me, the next he had Kara by the throat, lifting her off the ground. Choose your next words very carefully, he growled. Because they might be your last. Ryker, don't. I grabbed his arm. Please. She's still my sister. He looked at me like I was insane. She's been poisoning you, Nora. 4 months. I know, but... My voice broke. Please. For a long moment, he didn't move. Then slowly, he lowered Kara to the ground and released her. She collapsed, gasping, and I knelt beside her even though everything in me was screaming to run. Why? I whispered. Why would you do this? Kara looked at me, and for just a second, I saw my sister again. The girl who used to braid my hair and sneak me cookies when I was sad. Then it was gone. Because I'm tired of being second best to you, she said. Our whole lives, you've been the favorite. The good daughter. The kind one. Everyone loves Nora, perfect little Nora, who never does anything wrong. She laughed again. Well, guess what? I found something you couldn't have. And I was going to take it. But you didn't, Ryker said coldly. Because fate doesn't work that way. And now you've committed a crime against pack law. The penalty for mate interference is exile. Kara went white. You can't. I can. I will. He looked at me. Unless Nora asks me not to. Every eye in the vicinity was on us now. The ceremony had stopped. People were whispering, phones out, recording everything. My sister, who I'd loved my entire life, had tried to steal my soulmate. My soulmate, who I'd met an hour ago, was asking me to decide her fate. I need air, I managed. I can't. The room spun. My vision tunneled. The last thing I remembered was Ryker catching me as I fell, his voice rough with something that might have been fear. Nora. Nora. Then everything went black. I woke up in a bed that wasn't mine, in a room that smelled like pine and lightning storms. Ryker's scent. I sat up too fast, and the world tilted. Strong hands caught my shoulders, steadying me. Easy, Ryker said. He was sitting in a chair beside the bed, looking like he hadn't moved in hours. His jacket was gone, sleeves rolled up, hair disheveled. You've been out for 3 hours. 3. Panic flooded through me. The ceremony. Kara. What happened? What did you? Nothing yet, he interrupted. I brought you here to my home. You're safe. That's all that matters right now. I looked around. We were in a massive bedroom with floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking a forest. The bed was enormous, the furniture dark wood and leather. Everything about it screamed wealth and power. I shouldn't be here, I said, trying to stand. People will think. Let them think whatever they want. His voice was firm but not unkind. You collapsed at a public ceremony after discovering your sister's been poisoning you. You needed somewhere secure to recover. My home is the safest place in the territory. I wanted to argue, But he was right. And more than that, I didn't actually want to leave. How did you know? I asked quietly. About the drugs. Your scent was wrong. He leaned forward, elbows on his knees. When I first saw you tonight, something pulled me to you. Hard. Like a hook in my chest. But your scent was muted. Incomplete. It didn't make sense until your sister confirmed it. And you're sure? That I'm your... I couldn't say the word. Mate. He said it easily, like it wasn't the most world-altering thing possible. Yes. I'm sure. How? He stood and crossed to the window, his back to me. Do you know what it feels like when an alpha finds their true mate, Nora? I shook my head, then realized he couldn't see me. No. It's like suddenly remembering how to breathe after drowning for years. It's every protective instinct you have going nuclear. It's looking at someone and knowing beyond any doubt that you'd burn the world to ashes to keep them safe. He turned, and the intensity in his eyes stole my breath. That's what I felt the second I saw you. But you don't even know me. I know enough. He moved closer, predatory and graceful. I know you wore gray to a ceremony where everyone else wore white because you didn't want attention. I know you stayed when your sister abandoned you because you're loyal to a fault. I know you tried to protect Kara even after learning what she'd done because you have a good heart. And I know... He stopped a foot away, his voice dropping. I know that when you touched me, it felt like coming home. My heart was thundering again. Ryker. You feel it too, he said. It wasn't a question. Don't you? I wanted to lie. I wanted to be smart and cautious and protect myself from the inevitable heartbreak of falling for someone so far out of my league. But I'd never been good at lying. Yes, I whispered. I feel it. Something blazed in his eyes. Triumph and relief and hunger all mixed together. He reached for me, then stopped himself, his hand falling back to his side. I need to tell you something, he said. Before this goes any further. Something you deserve to know. The seriousness in his tone made my stomach drop. What? Your sister wasn't entirely wrong. There is a prophecy. He moved to a desk in the corner and pulled out an old leather journal. It was given to my family 300 years ago by a seer. She predicted that the Alpha of Shadow Mountain would find his true mate at a mating ceremony, and that their bond would either save our pack or destroy it. I stared at him. Destroy it? How? The prophecy wasn't specific. Just that the bond would be tested, and if we failed the test, both our packs would fall. He set the journal on the bed between us. I've spent years trying to interpret it, trying to prepare. And when I saw you tonight... He exhaled slowly. I knew. The prophecy was about you. But I'm nobody, I said helplessly. I'm not special. I'm not powerful. How could I possibly? You're not nobody to me. The fierceness in his voice made me flinch. You're everything. And yes, that terrifies me. Because it means you're also the one person who could break me. I looked down at the journal, afraid to touch it. What does the prophecy say about me? That you'd come from ash and wood. That you'd wear the color of storms. That you'd be overlooked by everyone except the one who mattered. He tilted his head. Ashwood. Gray. Does that sound familiar? My skin prickled. That could be coincidence. Could be. He didn't sound convinced. There's more. Of course there is, I muttered. He almost smiled. It says the mate would be betrayed by blood. That she'd have to choose between family and fate. And that her choice would determine everything. Kara. He was talking about Kara. So what happens now? I asked. You said the penalty for what she did is exile. But if I'm the one who decides, then you have a choice to make. Ryker sat on the edge of the bed, careful to keep distance between us. You can ask me to show her mercy. I will, if you ask. But understand what that means. If she stays in the pack, she'll be a constant threat to you. To us. She's already proven she's willing to hurt you to get what she wants. She's my sister, I said, but my voice lacked conviction. She's also someone who's been poisoning you for half a year. His jaw tightened. Nora, I need you to understand something. Whatever you felt for her before tonight, she didn't feel the same way. You were an obstacle. Nothing more. The words hurt because I knew they were true. I'd seen it in Kara's eyes, the hatred, the resentment, the cold satisfaction when she thought she'd won. I don't know what to do, I admitted. Then don't decide tonight. Ryker stood. Rest. Recover. In the morning, we'll figure out next steps. Where are you going? Downstairs. You need space and I need. He stopped himself. You need what? Distance, he said quietly. Because every instinct I have is screaming at me to claim you right now. To mark you and make sure no one ever questions who you belong to. And that's not fair to you. You didn't ask for any of this. I should have been terrified. Instead, I felt flattered, wanted, safe. What if I don't want distance? The words were out before I could stop them. Ryker froze. Slowly, he turned to face me. Nora. I'm not saying I want you to claim me, I added quickly. I just mean, I don't want to be alone right now. And you make me feel safe. So maybe, I gestured at the massive bed. Maybe you could stay. Just stay. For a long moment, he didn't move. Then he nodded once, sharp and decisive. I'll stay. He settled back into the chair, but I shook my head. That looks uncomfortable. I've slept in worse places. Ryker. The bed is the size of a football field. I scooted to one side. Stay. Please. He looked at me like I was asking him to jump off a cliff. Then, moving carefully, he lay down on top of the covers, as far from me as the bed would allow. Comfortable? I asked. Terrified, he admitted. But yes. I laughed despite everything, and the sound seemed to ease something in the room. We lay there in silence for a while, the only sound the wind in the trees outside. Can I ask you something? I said finally. Anything. Why were you alone tonight? At the ceremony. You're an alpha. You could have had anyone. But you were by yourself. He was quiet for so long I thought he wouldn't answer. Then, because I was waiting for you. My breath caught. You knew I'd be there? No. But I hoped. He turned his head to look at me. Every ceremony for the last 5 years, I've gone alone. Hoping. Waiting. Starting to think maybe the prophecy was wrong. Or maybe I'd already missed you somehow. And then tonight, I walked in, and there you were. His voice dropped to barely a whisper. standing alone in a crowd, wearing grey like a storm, and I couldn't breathe. That's the most romantic thing anyone's ever said to me, I said, then immediately felt stupid. Sorry. That was true. His lips quirked. Don't apologize for honesty, Nora. I get the feeling you're rare enough as it is. We fell quiet again, but it was comfortable now. Safe. I was drifting off when Ryker spoke again. Nora. Whatever you decide about your sister, whatever happens next, I want you to know, he paused. You're not alone anymore. You understand that, right? Even if you reject this bond, even if you walk away tomorrow, you'll always have me in your corner. Always. Tears pricked my eyes. Thank you. Don't thank me. It's not a choice. It's just fact. I fell asleep to the sound of his breathing, feeling safer than I had in my entire life. When I woke, sunlight was streaming through the windows and Ryker was gone. I sat up, panic flaring, but then I heard voices downstairs. Male voices, tense and angry. I crept to the bedroom door and opened it a crack. Don't care what the council says, Ryker was growling. She stays here until I say otherwise. With all due respect, Alpha, the girl's sister is demanding to see her. And given the circumstances, denying that request could be seen as what? Protecting my mate from someone who's already proven herself dangerous. As isolation. Manipulation. A different voice. Older. The council is concerned you're moving too fast. That you're not giving the girl a choice. She has a choice, Ryker snarled. She can walk out that door any time she wants. But she won't be dragged into a confrontation with her abuser just because the council is too cowardly to enforce their own laws. The sister claims she can prove the poisoning was an accident. That she was trying to help. That's a lie. Perhaps. But without evidence. I'd heard enough. I threw open the door and marched downstairs, still wearing yesterday's rumpled dress. Hair probably a disaster. 3 men stood in Ryker's living room. 2 were council members in formal robes. The 3rd was my father. Dad. I stopped on the bottom step, shocked. He looked older than I remembered. Tired. Nora. Thank God. Are you all right? When Kara told us what happened, what did she tell you? That this man, he gestured at Ryker, forced you to pretend to be his mate in front of everyone. That he's holding you here against your will. That's not what happened, I interrupted. My father blinked. What? Ryker saved me. From some men who were targeting me. I couldn't quite bring myself to say the rest. He's been nothing but respectful. And I'm here because I want to be. Nora, honey, you don't have to protect him. I'm not. Frustration bubbled up. Dad, did Kara tell you about the drugs? About what she's been doing to me? His face went blank. Drugs? What are you? She's been suppressing my scent for months. To keep Ryker from recognizing me as his mate. She admitted it last night. That's ridiculous. Kara wouldn't. She did. I descended the last few steps, standing between my father and Ryker. She planned the whole thing. And when it didn't work, she tried to make me look like the bad guy. One of the council members cleared his throat. If we could take a statement from you, Miss Ashwood. You can take it right here, I said. Kara has been poisoning me with scent suppressants since before the winter solstice. She knew Ryker would be at the ceremony. She brought me specifically so he would see me and be disappointed when he couldn't recognize his mate. She thought if she couldn't have him, at least I wouldn't either. The words tumbled out, bitter and sharp. So no, it wasn't an accident. And no, I'm not being manipulated. I'm telling you the truth. Silence. My father looked like I'd slapped him. Nora, your sister loves you. No, I said quietly. She doesn't. And I think part of me always knew that. I just didn't want to see it. Ryker moved to stand beside me, not touching, but close enough that I could feel his presence. Support without pressure. The council members exchanged glances. We'll need to interview the sister. Get her side of. She'll lie, Ryker said flatly. Nevertheless. Fine. Interview her. But it happens here, with Nora present, and with a truth seer to verify every word. His tone left no room for argument. Those are my terms. You can't dictate terms to the council. I can when it involves my mate's safety. He crossed his arms. Unless you'd like to challenge me for the right? No one took him up on that. Very well, the older council member said stiffly. We'll arrange for the truth seer. In the meantime, Miss Ashwood, you're free to go if you wish. Or to stay if that's your choice. Everyone looked at me. I looked at Ryker. He met my eyes, and I saw the question there. What do you want? What did I want? To run. To hide. To pretend the last 12 hours hadn't happened. But also, to stay. To fight. To finally, for once in my life, choose myself. I'm staying, I said. My father made a small, hurt sound. Nora, please think about this. I have. I'm staying with Ryker until this is resolved. You barely know him. I know he's been honest with me. Which is more than I can say for my own family. The words came out harsher than I intended, but I didn't take them back. My father left without another word. The council members followed, promising to return within 2 days with the truth seer. And then it was just me and Ryker in the too quiet house. You didn't have to do that, he said. Defend me to them. Yes, I did. I turned to face him fully. Because you defended me first. And because it was the truth. Something fierce and possessive flashed in his eyes. Nora. I'm not saying I'm ready for everything that comes with being your mate, I added quickly. But I'm saying I want to try. If you'll be patient with me, I'll be whatever you need me to be. Then be honest. Always. Even when it's hard. I can do that. He hesitated. Starting now. Yes. I'm falling for you. The words were quiet, certain. I know it's too soon. I know you need time. But you wanted honesty, and that's the truth. I'm falling, and I'm not going to fight it. My heart felt too big for my chest. Ryker. You don't have to say anything. I just needed you to know. He smiled, and it was almost sad. So you can make informed decisions. I stepped closer, drawn by something I didn't fully understand. What if I'm falling too? His breath caught. Are you? I don't know. Maybe. Probably. I laughed shakily. This is crazy. Yes. We met yesterday. I know. My life is a disaster. I've noticed. He reached out slowly, giving me time to pull away. When I didn't, he cupped my face with one large hand. But you're my disaster now. If you'll have me. I leaned into his touch, and something that had been broken inside me for as long as I could remember started to heal. Ask me again in 2 days, I whispered. After we deal with Kara. And then I'll give you my answer. He nodded, accepting. 2 days. But we both knew what the answer would be. The truth seer arrived exactly 48 hours later, and Kara came with her. My sister looked terrible, pale, thin, with dark circles under her eyes. She wouldn't meet my gaze. The truth seer was an ancient woman named Vera who smelled like sage and starlight. She set up in Ryker's study, and we all gathered around while Kara sat in the center, hands cuffed with silver to prevent her from running. This is barbaric, my mother said. She'd come too, standing behind Kara like a shield. She's agreed to cooperate. The cuffs aren't necessary. They're standard procedure, Ryker replied coolly. Unless you'd like to take responsibility if she tries to escape? My mother glared but said nothing. Vera began the ceremony, placing her hands on Kara's temples. I will ask questions. You will answer. The truth will be known. Her voice was hypnotic, layered with power. Do you understand? Yes, Kara whispered. Did you administer scent-suppressing drugs to your sister, Nora Ashwood? Silence. Then, yes. My mother gasped. My father, standing in the corner, went rigid. Did you do so with the intent to interfere with her fated mate bond? Yes. Did you know Ryker Thorne was her fated mate before the ceremony? Yes. How? I found the prophecy. 6 months ago. I researched. I learned about the Alpha of Shadow Mountain and his search for his mate. Her voice broke. I wanted to be her. So badly. And when I realized it was Nora, I couldn't. She started crying. Vera didn't stop. Did you love your sister? No. The word was stark, honest. I envied her, resented her, hated her. She got everything I wanted just by existing, and Kara looked up, tears streaming down her face, and met my eyes for the first time. I wanted her to feel what it was like to be second. Just once. The truth hit me like a physical blow. Ryker's hand found mine, steady and warm. Did you intend to harm her permanently? Vera asked. No. Just long enough to make her hurt. Kara slumped in 5:53 a.m. Her chair. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry, Nora. Lies don't work under truth-seeing, Vera said mildly. Try again. Are you sorry? Kara's face contorted. No, she spat. I'm not. I'd do it again if I thought I could win. My mother made a wounded sound. My father looked like he wanted to disappear. And I felt free. Because finally, I knew the truth. I wasn't crazy. I wasn't imagining things. My sister really had hated me, and now I could stop blaming myself for it. The testimony is complete, Vera announced. The accused has confessed to mate bond interference with intent to harm. The recommended sentence, per PAC law, is exile for no less than 10 years. No. My mother lunged forward. Please, there must be another way. There is. Everyone turned to look at me. I stood, Ryker's hand still in mine. She can accept a different sentence. Serve the pack in penance. Work under supervision to earn back trust. Kara's eyes widened. You'd do that? After everything? Not for you, I said honestly. For Mom and Dad. Because I'm not like you, Kara. I don't punish people I love just to make myself feel better. The victim's mercy is noted, Vera said. Do you accept these terms, Kara Ashwood? Kara looked at our parents, then back at me. Yes, she whispered. Yes, I accept. Then it's decided. 5 years of supervised service, followed by probation. Your scent privileges are revoked, and you're banned from all mate ceremonies indefinitely. Vera stood. This matter is closed. The council members escorted Kara out. My parents followed, my mother sobbing. My father paused in the doorway, looking back at me. You're staying with him, aren't you? Yes. He nodded slowly. He'll take care of you. I'll take care of myself, I corrected. But yes. He'll be there when I need him. That's all I can ask. He attempted a smile. Be happy, Nora Bear. The childhood nickname made my throat tight. I'll try, Dad. He left. And then it was just me, Ryker, and Vera. The prophecy, I said to the seer. Is there more? Something you haven't told us? Vera smiled, ancient and knowing. The prophecy is complete. The mate came from ash and wood. She was betrayed by blood. She chose fate over family. And in doing so, she looked between us. She saved both packs from a future of lies and corruption. Your sister's ambition would have torn everything apart. But you, child, you chose truth. You chose courage. You chose love. I barely know him, I protested weakly. And yet you chose him anyway. Vera touched my cheek gently. That's not foolishness, dear. That's faith. Don't ever apologize for it. She left, and I was alone with Ryker in his study, the afternoon sun slanting through the windows. So, he said, 2 days are up. I noticed. Do you have an answer for me? I took a breath. Let it out. Took the leap. Yes. He went very still. Yes, you have an answer? Or yes, you'll. Yes, I'll be yours, I said. Yes to the bond. Yes to trying. Yes to seeing where this goes, even though it's terrifying and insane and... He kissed me. It wasn't gentle. It was fierce and claiming and full of everything he'd been holding back for 2 days. His hands tangled in my hair, my body pressed against his, and I kissed him back like I was drowning and he was air. When we finally broke apart, we were both breathing hard. Too much, he asked. Not enough, I replied and pulled him back down. Later, much later, we lay tangled together on the couch in his study, my head on his chest, his fingers tracing lazy patterns on my arm. What happens now? I asked. Now we take it 1 day at a time. I caught you properly. You finish whatever you were doing before all this. We get to know each other. He pressed a kiss to my hair. And eventually, when you're ready, we complete the mate bond. And if I'm never ready? Then we don't complete it. You set the pace, Nora. Always. I tilted my head to look at him. You'd really wait? Potentially forever. I'd wait 1,000 years if that's what you needed. His eyes were storm gray and absolutely serious. "You're worth waiting for." "I don't understand what you see in me," I admitted. "I'm not special. I'm not." "You stood in front of the council and offered mercy to someone who tried to destroy you. You chose truth even when it cost you your family. You faced down your worst fear and came out stronger." He cupped my face. "If that's not special, I don't know what is." Tears pricked my eyes. "Ryker, I love you," he said simply. "It's too soon and too fast and I don't care. I love you, Nora Ashwood. And I'm going to spend the rest of my life proving it." I should have been scared. I should have pulled away. Instead, I smiled through my tears and said the truest thing I'd ever said. "I love you too." And for the first time in my life, I wasn't alone. I wasn't overlooked. I wasn't second best. I was chosen. I was loved. I was his. And he was mine.